when we are handling horses, we want to make sure that, again, our body language is really important. This is quite aggressive, right? This means that I'm coming at you, right? There's a release of pressure, and fun enough, if I turn away, there's even more of a release of pressure, and this is where a lot of the time that the horses will come up to you, okay, and come and be in your space when you go to turn around and walk away from them. The hardest thing to do with people and horses is get somebody to understand it's the release of pressure is the real big communication with them. When we talk about trying to move horses around, there's two places. There's their nose and their neck. I use a thing what I call cat's claws. Okay, so if I have my hand flat on the neck like this, if I want to move him over, I can just put my fingers into him and he moves away, and then I can go soft. Okay, so I can move away. That's his neck for making him move sideways. Okay, if I want to use his nose, I have his nose to be able to say don't walk forward. So both in combination, I can get him to turn a circle away from me. Now this type of language we use is really developed with horses, how they speak to each other. Those are areas that they use themselves if they're turned out in the field. And I can get that quite soft. So even there, he moves away. That's a really important thing by just putting a little pressure there. And then suddenly I can start to move his feet. That's the communication that we have. When they start to answer you, it's really important that you release the pressure. In that instance, it is the difference between doing this and pushing and going here. If you have that type of language, when you get on, you've already established how you're going to talk to them, which is a form of putting pressure on and taking pressure off. Now, we can do the same type of idea with pressure with using an area. Don't go behind them, but I can use the pressure right at the end of his rib cage, that if I put my fingers into him, I want him to step away from me. This is really important when I get into a place where I'm in a barn, I'm in a stall, I'm in a trailer. Do I have that ability to be able to move his feet? I use my fingers and he moves away from me. So then I've got the front end and the back end that I can move around, which is so important when you're in small spaces and any place that you want to say, I want you to move away from me. If you have a rope in your hand, don't ever loop it over your hand, okay? Don't create a circle and loop it over your hand. Always carry it so that there's an open loop. That way, if they ever move and they move away from you, that rope will slide through your hand and not bind your hand. I've seen a lot of people actually get into trouble because that loop suddenly closes over their hand and they get into trouble.